If you're an attorney in the pursuit of a successful law practice, fulfilling career, and the life of your dreams, this podcast has it all. Behind the Bench gives you great tools to overcome the unique challenges you face every day as a law firm owner. Welcome to Behind the Bench podcast with your host, Josh Konigsberg, author, partner, and co-founder of Law Firm Marketing Pros and lifelong entrepreneur.
Hey, Josh Konigsberg, Law Firm Marketing Pros, back with another exciting episode of Behind the Bench for Lawyers. I'm super excited today. I have Brana Williams with me. Brana and I have become fast friends, and she is the principal and founder at Indigo Family Law in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She is also co-founder of a really exciting new coaching program called Prosper Law, and I'm so excited to talk to you today, Brana. Just tell us real. Go ahead.
I'm super excited to be here too.
Well, that's great, and I can tell. I love it. So I love the energy. So tell us a little bit about your background at Indigo Family Law.
A little bit. I'll go all the way back. I actually grew up here. I am a native to South Carolina, basically a native to Myrtle Beach. I grew up on a tobacco farm, and I was the first one in my family that went to law school. Law school was very interesting, and it was very different from anything I had ever done. I go in, I graduate, I get out, I start working. I was in the upstate, and then I came back local to prosecute. I switched from prosecuting into private practice. And I did what every lawyer does. You start out thinking, oh my God, I just got to have business. So you do what we call practicing door law, and you take a lot of different kinds of law. And then I opened my own firm in 2000. And about 5 years ago, I realized that I really did want a niche. And so I niched into family law. I love criminal law, but I thought that family law was better. And so that's how I decided to focus my firm and grow it. Okay. Once I realized that I could grow my firm, and it really is a business, and law school doesn't teach us that, which is part of why Greg and I are doing the Prosper Law, because law school teaches us to be lawyers, right? We don't know anything about business. And listen, my undergrad, I have a double in finance and marketing with an accounting concentration. I should have known better, and I didn't, okay? So I think it's real important. That's why we've started Prosper, is to teach lawyers that this is a business as well as a practice and a profession.
So you're so spot on. And as you know, I talk to lawyers every day, and I've heard this over and over again. So you decide 5 years ago, you decide to niche into family law, which is really the way to accelerate. So where were you at that time revenue-wise, and how fast have you been able to grow? Because that's part of the story in terms of teaching others how to experience that same, what I'll call meteoric growth.
I always kind of feel like I've been blessed and lucky. I had gotten to where I was consistently pulling in, as a sole practitioner, anywhere between 2 to 250, a good year, sometimes 175, but I'd say 250, right? And then when I niched, I took that next year, I probably dropped back to about 150 gross, so you got to understand that's the hit you take, but so be it. And then I consistently doubled at a 50% per year growth up until even COVID. The year of COVID, I should have broke $1 million. And we were lucky we didn't, but we actually grew during COVID. Like every year, our gross revenue has continued to increase. So now we have been consistently, we're over $1 million plus, green.
That's fantastic. So even with COVID, and even though you took a hit, you didn't double, but you still managed to grow.
Oh yeah. Well, from that first time dipping back down, I've grown 50% a year up until COVID hit. And of course, COVID, changed the landscape of business for everybody.
Absolutely amazing. So the inspiration for you to help other lawyers by being the co-founder with Greg McCollum at Prosper Law, and Greg is a criminal defense and your family law, both in Myrtle Beach. Tell us about the inspiration when you guys got together and what happened.
Well, Greg has been a friend of mine for a while, and we've known each other. And Greg has always done more criminal than I have, more primarily criminal, but Greg did other areas as well. And I did mostly family and criminal with, a couple of other things blended in. But independently of each other, we kind of found this idea that we wanted to niche and grow the firms and grow them in an area and make it more of a business. And we kind of realized we were both doing it. So it drew us closer as friends. And we realized that our struggles were not, unique to just us. This is common. It's everybody, I believe. And if you're in the solo or small business arena.
Small law firm arena.
Correct.
And so what I see is, and again, this is not taught in law school, is that really the only time that you're a lawyer is when you're with a client in a courtroom in a deposition or mediation. The rest of the time you're a business owner. So it's like you have to change hats, right?
You absolutely have to change hats. And what you don't realize is that so much of your other time is spent in that other hat, and you're not prepared for it. You're not prepared for the sales aspect of, you've got to have clients coming in the door. What do I need to do? Well, I don't need to lawyer them to death. I need for them to hire me so that I can then help them. I need to have enough money in my bank account so that I can pay my bills. I need to have enough money so I can pay my staff, and I got to have enough time to actually lawyer.
That's right. So it's interesting to break it out, not only to the lawyering aspect and then the business aspect, but then you have all these other, just like with lawyering, you have all these other aspects of business that someone who has not been to business school, does not have a degree in economics or marketing or whatever, because you need to understand, as a lawyer, you need to understand accounting, you need to understand personnel, you need to understand marketing. Within marketing, you need to understand intake, which we see as a big problem, right?
Oh,
so,
right.
Right. So all of those things. And so this is what Prosper Law is going to help other attorneys around the country do.
That is absolutely our goal, is to help you understand that the reality of it is, our philosophy is there's 7 parts to a business, and only one of those parts is the service. And the service is law, right? And you have all these other parts, and you got to know that, and you got to know what the finances are, and you got to know what your metrics are, and you got to know what your KPIs are. Who knew what that term was? Right. 5 years ago. I didn't know what it is.
So some of the people listening might not know what it is.
Yeah, and it's your key performance indicators. It's what do you do? How much is your average case value? Are you spending, did you charge X amount, but you're spending Y amount of time? Well, it might make you feel good as a lawyer, but is that paying your bills? Is that practical? Or if you do it, it's fine if it is a conscious decision to do it. You got to know why your clients come see you versus going to see the next lawyer down the street. What do you do to keep your clients happy? Or more importantly, maybe what do you do to keep your staff happy so you don't have to turn over left and right? Because we all know training new people is just ungodly, time-consuming and difficult, and it's hard on your clients. It's hard on you. It's there's really so much that goes into owning a small business.
That's right. And really, it doesn't matter what kind of small business it is, but in this case, it happens to be law. So with that being said, for Prosper Law, who's the ideal customer for you? Me, and I know that, and I've said this before, so you've got small solo or small family law and criminal defense. So can you describe a little bit more detail? Who's the right person to call you to get help?
What we know, what we truly believe that we can help are small criminal lawyers, small family lawyers. There are other areas as well that I know that we can help them, but quite frankly, a criminal law practice and a family law practice is different than, say, a PI practice. Estate planning is more similar, but different, okay? And then obviously a civil suit is different, just that whole other arena. But we know that we can help people who are grossing somewhere, say between 75, 253, even a little bit bigger, because sometimes you get lucky and you get bigger, but you don't, what we call an unconscious competent. You're doing it, but God knows you don't know how you're doing it right. And you ride the wave. And
That's right.
what happened to me for so long, and I know what happened to Greg is, you're going, then all of a sudden, oh my God, I got all these clients. I got to be able to do something for them. Then you're doing all the work. Then you're like, I don't have anybody new coming in. And, there's always these cycles. And the goal is to help you structure a business and get systems and things in place so that it's a lot more smooth. It'll never be really smooth. It just can't. But you can make the dips and up and downs not so ridiculous and so doggone stressful.
Yes, so exactly right. So dramatic. And it's so funny because I describe it the same way in marketing. So that what happens is that you have a peak of new clients and you're so busy servicing the clients, and now you're not doing your networking and going to all the cocktail parties and the breakfast meetings, and then there's a drop off, and it looks like that. And it's difficult to grow a business without a predictable, manageable cash flow. So now I describe it as that's where you are. What you want is an inverted ski slope. And where you guys will come in to help is not only with the marketing to get to that peak higher and higher ski slope, is then how do you hire? How do you know when to make the next hire? And how do you manage?
Correct. Because you got to know capacity. You got to know, I've got, it doesn't help you a lot to take on all these new people and then not be able to service them. You've got to be able to figure out what you're doing. You also need to know the other part of it that I think was so surprising to me when I really made the shift was, what kind of cases do I really like? Where do I excel and what makes me happy? We've all taken cases that you go, oh my God, why did I do this? And you, that goal is to do something that fulfills your soul, because when your soul's full and you're doing a good job, you do the best job for your clients. And what we do as lawyers is very necessary. People make fun of lawyers, but by God, that's who they call when they need it.
Absolutely. It's absolutely necessary, right?
Yeah.
So if you could describe your unique selling proposition, do you have a USP?
Well, okay, it's new business. So this is part of what we're on the journey too. And that'll be part of what we're taking our clients with. But I know that one of the reasons that I know we can do this and we can do a really good job to help our clients is, by God, we've been there and done it. I did it. I am still doing it. Greg has been there, has done it, and he's still doing it. I went from a real baby solo law firm with one employee to now there are 9 of us in here. And we're growing. We're just opening another office down there in Georgetown and growing. And I think part of it is I'm not preaching at my people. I will be preaching with them, because I've done it, and here we go. And these were the mistakes I made. This is what you can look forward to at this level. Then when you hit that level, I think a very important lesson is the next level isn't, Mecca, there's problems there too. It's just
and they're different problems. That's right. They're different problems.
Right. And then the next level, there's just a different set of problems.
Right. So you've got this fantastic, growing, successful law practice. So what motivates you to win outside of that with Prosper Law? What's the motivation behind it?
I believe it is purely selfish. It is my purpose that I want to share and I want to help. And I believe there's enough blessing and enough money and enough goodness in this world that we can all share. And I don't have to be jealous and threatened and hope that I get it all and you don't have any. I've done well. I'm doing, and I want to share it because I want everybody to come along on the journey too. I just want to give back and I want to help. And if I can help at least some of the other young lawyers not have to go through the self-doubt and the questioning and the, oh my God, I should know this. What is wrong with me? How could I have done that? I want to ease them through that because we've all done it.
You know, I mentor other digital marketing agencies, and we had a mentor session just the other day. I think it was on Wednesday, and I get feedback from the members who I help. And, they were talking about one of the members who's just absolutely been incredibly successful recently that I mentored. And nothing brings me greater joy today than getting a text message from someone who I've helped get over that hump to the next level. So maybe they were stuck at a $50,000 or $60,000 a month recurring revenue model. Now they've got $1 million agency, right? So nothing brings me greater joy. So I can absolutely relate to what you're saying.
When you look at it, honestly, my very personal vision is a world of people who see the possibilities, right? I want you to see possible. I want you to see what's possible around this corner. And then let's look at the next corner. And then let's look at the next corner, and not to get stuck and not to be so overwhelmed by you are to not think, oh my God, I can't get out of this. There's a way, and I want to help you find it.
So, Brana, that sounds like a unique selling proposition to me.
Maybe I did. Maybe we created it together.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. So I just want to change gears a little bit and talk about some challenges and solutions. So what keeps you up at night with regard to Prosper Law?
Oh, it's the self-doubt we all have. Oh my God, can I do this? Do I really, I think we all have the imposter syndrome. Can I do this? Will there be enough people willing to take the chance? Will there enough be people willing to listen? It was hard for me when I started. I thought, oh my God, how can I spend that money? I mean, our fees are not, our expenses are not really, let me say the prices are not exorbitant, but it's a lot when you're just like flipping out about how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for that? And then I just hope that our people understand that sometimes you got to spend money to make money.
That's right. 100%.
And I think that's my big fear, is that they won't come and I won't have anybody to help. Really.
Okay. That's a good reason. I like it. That's a good reason to keep you up at night, right? So what are the key challenges that other attorneys face? And again, I'm talking about the audience that's listening to you that needs your help. What are the key challenges that they face, and how can they be addressed?
I think if we're talking about the smaller, younger firms or lower gross revenue firms, I think the biggest fear they have is, will I have enough money? Will I have enough money next month? What's going to happen? How can I keep this going? They need to understand that at that beginning level, and sometimes we get stuck in that beginning level, and that's okay, is you really just got to hustle, market, sell. And you may need help just fine-tuning those skills. We joke all the time, and basically what you got to know is the horse wins the Kentucky Derby by nose. He doesn't win it by a flipping, horse length or 2 horse length. It's by nose, and it's fine-tuning those fine skills. And most of the time we don't recognize that in ourselves. We see it in other people, especially lawyers. Lawyers are all good at fixing everybody else's problems, but we don't ever have time to look at our own self. What do they say? It's the cobbler's kids that are shoeless.
That's right. With the holes in their shoes. That's right. Yep. So the thing that I see for the smaller solos is that when they start getting busy and they bring someone on board, maybe it's a paralegal, maybe they don't have a lot of experience, is the intake problem that I see over and over again, that now that the attorney's not handling the phones, the first touch on the potential client and how that's managed. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, we implemented a whole system in my firm, and I have a whole intake in there where you really got to spend the time to kind of screen the clients. You got to train your person who's answering the phone. They need to know who your ideal client is. There's a lot of training that needs to go into that intake person, that when you're the lawyer and you've been doing it, it's just natural. It's just rote. And you think that, well, I know how to do it. Why don't they know how to do it? But they don't. And so I think I think that is huge. And then I think they've also got to learn to be able to shift enough to say, look, that's a great question. Let me get to the lawyer and I'll get back with you, or let me set up, a time, however your firm is structured, so that they can do it. But intake is critical because that first impression is, they are a reflection of your firm as well. People don't just see you. That's the person they see. That's the person they talk to. And I think that small law firms really have to acknowledge that and have to understand that that person is part of their brand as well.
So is that a component or a module of the Prosper Law program?
Yes. Okay. It's part of the sales marketing tool.
Component. Okay, great. Perfect. Because that's the role, actually, and that's what it is. Okay. So can you share with the listeners a memorable success story or challenge that you overcame that really holds a valuable lesson for other attorneys?
I think one of the biggest lessons that I have learned in this journey is that, I really thought, oh my gosh, if I get, because when you're at a group and you're hearing people say, oh, well, I'm grossing over $1 million, or I got a $4 million law firm, or I got these other things, you think, oh my gosh, they've got all their problems answered and the situation done. It's good. I've reached that point. It's all going to be gravy now. And I think the biggest baseline lesson that I have learned is that it really is a journey. Okay. And it's exactly what we said, that different levels have different problems. And the other part about it is that once you get this area fixed, we're going to try to fix the most critical area first. Then we're going to work on the second area. Then we're going to work on the third area. Then we're going to work on the fourth area. We'll understand that first area won't stay. Unfortunately, it won't stay fixed.
Right. That's right.
It's a cycle, and you got to work on it. And I think the mindset adjustment is the biggest learning curve I had. And that has been my best achievement, to finally realize that it is an ongoing process, and you just got to continue to work on it.
That's right. Okay. That's such a valuable piece of information to share. Changing gears again, let's talk about trends and development. So what are the most significant trends or changes that you've observed in the past year or two, maybe since COVID?
What I see is a lot of people are, they're more hesitant to come in. The social media has gotten so prevalent. We kind of joke and call them jailhouse lawyers. It's very interesting, the people who already know the answers when they call here, right? They're going to tell me how to practice law. One of the things we do is we do a ton of adoptions. My husband and I have adopted 6 kids, so I'm done the whole area. So it's kind of near and dear to my heart. And it's amazing the people who will call me and tell me that they know how to do this, or they know how to do that, or they have their expectations, And so I think the big trend is understanding that a lot of clients already have their knowledge, and they come in to kind of test. And so what we have found to be very successful is our motto is very much, we kind of shoot it straight with you. Here's what's going on. Here's what we've seen. That's kind of what I think is. I think social media is almost tainted, if you will, the market.
So when you say social media, between that and Google, people doing a lot of research before they come in. So the key message there that I see for the Prosper Law clients is that, how do you leverage that to your favor to drive more qualified leads that are easily convertible?
Absolutely. And part of it is, if you use the social media to educate correctly, right? Not the jailhouse lawyer terms, but that really you put your message out there in truth and in educating the potential client is valuable.
Spot on. Excuse me. Spot on. So with that being said, and it's continued to evolve pretty rapidly, can you project forward in the next couple of years, and what do you think is going to happen? And there's no right or wrong answer to this, right? So.
I think as far as like the Prosper at Law clients, I mean, because they're law firm owners, I think the whole structure of the legal industry is somewhat getting pushed to get changed. I don't know that if it will. For instance, in the medical field, there are not a lot of medical practices that are owned by doctors anymore. They're owned by corporations, right? Law firms are not like that right now. A lot of people out in the industry, you hear the talk that there's a push to make it more of a corporate environment. And I don't know that if it's going to come to that or not. Because, right now in most law firms, you have to be a lawyer in almost all states to be an owner of the law firm. And a lot of people are pushing to change that. So I'm not sure that's going to happen. But I think that firms are becoming more and more conglomerates.
So consolidation.
Yes.
So you're referring to ABA Rule 5.4, and I believe it's coming. I believe it's already passed in Arizona.
Yeah.
But I believe it is coming, and it's funny, the hedge funds and the venture capitalists are circling around. The private equity, they're circling around. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be your own person in your own little self and have your own thing going and be your own entrepreneur, it's going to be critical that you know how to be one of the best that you are in your market.
And it's not just necessarily being the best attorney. And that which leads me to my next question, and that has to do with collaboration and networking, right? So let's talk about how important that is.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody who's worth their salt knows that, you need to know the law. I mean, you need to be, in fact, we were just talking about this because we just had an adoption case come up in here. You don't necessarily have to get the best, smartest, brightest attorney. Everybody thinks that they are, but as long as you get a good attorney and you get a good, competent attorney, usually your client gets pretty decent results, okay? But they're a dime a dozen. Day before yesterday, there's like 250,000 attorneys in the Miami-Dade area. My gosh. Wow, right? How are you going to stand out? How are you going to, our job, what we want to prosper is we are assuming that you're a good lawyer. Our goal isn't to teach you how to practice law. Our goal isn't to teach you anything about evidence and, how do you do a deposition and the technical aspects of law. We're assuming you've already got that. What we want is to teach you about your business and how you can be a successful attorney in the community or in whatever room you want to go play in. That's fine. We'll help you be one of the best in that arena.
That's just so wonderful to hear that. Any advice for aspiring, this is for your target market. So any advice for the aspiring professionals, nuggets of wisdom or insight that you can share to help them get to the next level, whether they're just a startup or they're stuck at that, $125,000 a year, any nuggets of wisdom that you can share?
Absolutely. I think the most important, the first level of anything is to, number one, you have to decide kind of what you want personally, right? What your goals are personally, where eventually you're going to get to, okay? Once you've got that settled, then come back to business. And I think the way to do that in business is to truly figure out what you like to do and who do you want to do it with. I heard somebody say, if I got stuck on a desert island, who are my clients or who are the people I want to be stuck on a desert island with? Because we all can name the people we don't want to be on there. We all know those people, okay? And if you know those people, then why are they your clients?
So good. Such great advice. So that's a wrap for today. I just want to thank Brana Williams from Indigo Family Law and Prosper at Law for joining the Behind the Bench podcast today. Brana, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate your time today. This has been tremendous.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to another fabulous episode of Behind the Bench. I hope you take action on some insight and tips you learned today. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share.